Welcome to episode 68 of Deb's Artsy Life. Today's Wednesday in my world. It's about 5:30 and I just got home from work. Work's going good. Today was stressful, but you don't want to hear about that. I'm filming a video today so that we can chat and I can knit and we can just kind of catch up and decompress from the stressful day. So I hope you'll grab your knitting, maybe something to drink. I've got water. I've already had a cup of tea. And this video will be about a finished object, a finished blanket, and an almost finished blanket. And I'll talk about some of the hauls that I've recently done. And I want to show you this square that I made using a YouTube tutorial. And I don't even know whose it was at the moment. Let's see. Christine's Day Sun Granny Square pattern. And I wrote the instructions down. I worked on that, I think it was either Saturday or Sunday. So I'll tell you about that. But I wanted to mention in my last video, I owe you an apology because I said I was going to film a couple videos on Labor Day weekend, but I wasn't able to do that. It just got busy, and so I did not do that. I do want to film a video of me making my little baskets, and I will try my best to get to that. Sorry, I'm struggling with this increase for whatever reason. I'll try my best to get to that this weekend. But this weekend I also, on Friday, will be getting a big yarn haul from Yarnspirations. They had a sale, 30% off on the Bitty Stripes. Well, it was site-wide, but of course I invested in Bitty Stripes because I absolutely love that yarn. So I'll be sharing that haul this weekend too, I hope. You know, unless life gets crazy busy again. But I want to, let's see, let me run and get one of these little baskets. Hold on, just 1 second. Thank you for holding. I have shown these in a previous video. And I've made pumpkins to go in this one. These are out of acrylic yarn from Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. And I did not put the little vine on it. I made a little vine, but I just decided to leave them plain because I like that they lay flat. So tell me, does this look like a pumpkin without the little vine? Hopefully. But these are little coasters, and this is the little basket that they go in. And I made these because I was going to set up at a craft fair and be a vendor at several different craft fairs this fall. But what I discovered was that it was too stressful with a full-time job to do that. So I chose not to set up at the craft fair. So what I'll probably do is give these as gifts. And I've got the sunflowers here, and these were a repeat Crafter Me tutorial. And this week I did a little coffee cup coaster. I think I want to do another one of these. This is the back, but it's following the repeat Crafter Me tutorial. So, and I linked those in my last video, which was episode 67, if you want to look back in those notes. But what I want to do is make one of these little baskets with you in a video as we just sit here and crochet. And I might do it at the end of this video. I'm not sure if we'll have time, but the baskets don't take hardly any time to do. And what I'll do is just talk you through it and show you how I do it. Okay? So that'll either be a separate video or at the end of this one. But I wanted to show you this square, and like I said, it's Kristine's Day, and that's KRISTIN' Day, DAY, Kristine's Day. Just search for that in YouTube, and it's the Sun Granny Square pattern. If I have a chance, I'll put it in the description, but if I don't, just search for it. Sun Granny Square pattern, Kristine's Day, and that's Kristine with a K. But I just love this pattern and how it ended up looking. This is not right. I skipped a round in this one, so this is like my coaster. But these are correct, and I'm going to put these together somehow and make my daughter a book cover or a book sleeve. It's almost like a case to carry books in. She saw it on TikTok, and I don't do TikTok, but I hope that I can just kind of look at that and make her a book sleeve. So that's what these are for, and I need to add to them. But is that not beautiful? They're fun to make. So then what I did was I made the same center for this sunflower, and I don't have my ends sewn in. And then just kind of combined two patterns. But I'm not crazy about this round, so I need to work on that. This is the Repeat Crafter Me sunflower, and this is just a little version that I put together using the center from Kristine's Day sunflower. So anyway, I've just been playing around. I found that I don't have near as much time, of course. Working full time at this job, my time is just so limited to create. And, you know, it's good and bad. It's good because I really need the money and I need to work. So that's all good, and I'm very busy and it's very fulfilling. But I miss my creativity. And I'm sorry, my nose is itching. Ugh. Okay, so this is the Bitty Stripes, and I'm showing you this for a reason. This is the Love Bug, and then I've put a round of pink lemonade. And I bought this Premier Basic Salmon colorway. Premier, I don't know if you knew it, but Creative Grandma about a week ago had a free shipping code during one of her lives, and it only lasted for just like 7-8 hours. So I went on and I got some Premier Basics, came out with big rolls of Premier Worsted Value, and so I got some great big rolls. I think it's like 700 yards of black and white. And I got 2 of these salmon colors because I thought it would be a solid that would coordinate with these yarns, which are the Bitty Stripes. So what do you think? I haven't done it yet, but I like to incorporate a solid just to kind of rest your eye. And I may use white, but I'll play around and see how I can make a blanket out of this yarn. And I've probably got some Premier Basics purple that I can throw in there too. But that's for another time. Let me show you my finished blanket. I'm going to turn you around and back up. Bear with me. Hopefully you can see it. This is Bitty Stripes Unicorn Mane, and the border and the solid colors are Premier Basics. And then I have added in the Lolly, I think it's called Lolly's Bitty Stripes. The center here of each of these squares is the Bitty Stripes Lollies, which coordinates with the unicorn mane. So My finished blanket is the size of a hospice blanket. It measures 36 by 36. And I've put this border on. It's just a simple scallop border using the granny stitch. It's just 3 double crochets and a slip stitch in the middle stitch of the granny cluster below. I don't know if you can see that. There's a tutorial on YouTube, but I do not know whose it was or what it was. I just searched for it. And I'm showing you the right side, believe it or not. So good for me. So anyway, combining lollies with unicorn mane. And I'm also going to grab real quick the one I'm still working on. This one, it's still attached to the yarn, excuse me. Oh, I could do a whole video on bloopers, you know. Here's the other one, and it's just a pure endless granny square with no... I just love the way that this blue is Twilight from Premier Basics and Lime. And so I love the way that blue contrasts with the unicorn mane. And this will be another 36 by 36 blanket. And I call them hospice blankets, but so far they're just in a pile on my... Excuse me while I turn you back around. So far, they've not been donated. They're just in a pile on my dresser. So I've got a blanket stack starting. But I don't know if I will have this be a blanket for a little girl, maybe a co-worker's little girl, or if I'll donate it to hospice or whatever. But it will be, you know, given somehow. But what I did, Premier had a sale, not Premier, I'm sorry, Yarnspirations had a 30% site-wide sale. And so I ordered 6 skeins of the unicorn mane because I've been wanting it so bad. This is the Orchid from, I think it's Orchid, from Premier Basics. And it coordinates so perfectly with this yarn. And so does the Aqua. And I just love using this unicorn mane with the solid colors of the Bitty Stripes. No, I love using the Bitty Stripes unicorn mane with the solids of Premier Basics. I'm sorry, I've been like this all day. I don't know what's wrong with me. My brain is just, it's overloaded. But anyway, so I'm working on that, and that's my crochet. And you guys know I've been working on these knitted shawls, and I'm still trying to get those done. I thought I might knit tonight just because I'm so, I don't know, kind of overwhelmed. But I had to take advantage of this evening and film a video for you because I'm here by myself right now, and it just was a really good opportunity. So, I think I've shown you everything. So, why don't we work on a basket? I'm at least going to tell you how to do the bottom, okay? And I've shared this in a previous video. But the best tutorial on the internet, as far as I'm concerned, for making a flat circle is Ophelia Talks. She just does a marvelous job of a tutorial for a flat circle. So your first step in making a basket is to make a flat circle. And I'm going to link Ophelia Talks video. I've done it before, but I've got new subscribers now, and I don't even know which video I linked it in. But the best way to start one of these baskets is the Ophelia Talks. She just has the very best explanation ever. So I'm going to grab some of this yarn, which I absolutely love, from Hobby Lobby. It's Yarn Bee Dream Spun Twilight Plains. And I just think this is the perfect fall colorway. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and we'll talk, and I'll make a flat circle. It's only 3 rounds, so it's not going to take very long. And if you don't want to watch this, that's fine. You can stop the video, or you can watch this and we'll just chat and just make one of these little baskets. So you start with a slip knot, and I chain 3, and then I go into that first chain. I don't do a magic circle or anything like that. I chain 3 and go into the very first chain you made and do 11 double crochets, okay? And the chain that you started with will count as one of the double crochets in the end. So you just want to make a total of 12 double crochets, but we're counting that first chain too, so I'm making 11 double crochets. And you know, it's a little bit hard, especially with thick yarn, to fit the 11 double crochets inside that little chain, but you can squish it. It works well. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I just join. You've got your 2 chains there that you made in the beginning, and I just join in that first V. And I didn't do that very well. You've got a V. That's your first double crochet stitch. So I just join with a slip stitch. Then in the next round, I chain 2 and I do 2 double crochets in each stitch. So you end up at the end with 24 double crochets. I have to tell you while we're crocheting. So remember, we're doing 2 double crochets in each stitch, okay? I'm trying to hold it up, or maybe I'll just tilt you down. Hold on. Okay, so you can't see my head exactly, but you know what my head looks like. So 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around for a total of 24. Okay, I can't stand that you can't see the top of my head. It's back at me. All right. So 2 double crochets. And guys, I just keep it real around here. You know, I don't edit. I just film the videos. I talk to you like you were here in my living room. And that's the only way I can do it. So I have to tell you a very sad story. We've had our dog for 13 years. He's 16 years old. He's a rescue. And I've shown him in previous videos. I might show you a picture of him in a minute when I get my round done. But he had what we thought might be an ear infection. He's just been in so much pain. And he'll scratch his ear and he'll cry, and he cries at night. And it's just heartbreaking because he's never been sick. He's never been in any pain. But my husband's birthday was yesterday, and he had the horrible task of taking the dog to the vet because we've given him steroids and antibiotics, and it's not done anything for him. He's still in terrible pain. So my husband had the terrible task of taking him to the vet to try to figure out what our kind of last resort options are. All right, but first, let's break. I'm going to count. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So in that last stitch, I'm putting 2, and then I'm going into where I did that 2 chain at the beginning of the round, and I hope I'm doing this right. I'm putting a stitch in there. I might have fudged this a little bit, but I'm going to count and make sure I have 24 stitches. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Okay, so in the next round, we're on the 3rd round of our circle. I gotta pause you for a minute. Sorry about that, my husband called. So on this round, we're on the 3rd round. This is 1 and this is 2. And this yarn is a, I think it's a 5 bulky. It calls for an 8 millimeter, which is what I'm using. Actually, it calls for a 9 millimeter crochet hook, but I'm using an 8 because I kind of want it to be tight. So on this 3rd round, we chain 2, and into that next stitch, I'm going to do 1 double crochet, and then in the next stitch, I'm going to do 2 double crochets. So the way you do this is you increase so you do 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2. So you do that all the way around. And I'll tell you what Ophelia Talks says. No, I'm not going to. I'm afraid to. But she makes up this little rhyme, and it makes it so easy to crochet a flat circle. And so I'm not going to get into that. You've got to watch her tutorial. So 1 stitch in the first stitch, 1 double crochet, and then 2 in the next, 1 in the next, 2 in the next, all the way around. Okay, and it won't take long to get there, but I'm going to pause and meet you at the end of the 3rd round. And remember, it's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets together, 1, 2 in the same stitch. So every 3rd stitch, because it's the 3rd round, you are putting that in with the stitch before, okay? Again, you need to watch Ophelia Talks. So I'll meet you at the end of this round and be right back. Okay, so I've come back and I've joined with a slip stitch in the top of that first double crochet I made, and the chain 2 at the beginning counted as a stitch. So in that last stitch, you should come out to needing 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. Again, watch Ophelia Talks video. This is the part that is mine, basically. So when you get to the end, you can make this circle as big as you want it. And Ophelia Talks tutorial shows you how to do that. So when you get to the end of this, we're going to chain 2. And the way that it becomes a basket is so simple. You just go into the back loop of each stitch all the way around and work 1 half double crochet. And what that does is create this ridge, and it makes your basket stand up straight, okay? So 1 half double in every stitch around the back loop only. And the back loop is, if you're looking at the V, and it's hard to see with this yarn, but the back loop is the loop farthest from you. You don't go through the whole stitch. You just go through the back loop, okay? And that creates your ridge. Now, you don't have to do that. If you wanted like a bag or a basket that, you know, didn't have a flat bottom or whatever, and you just want to keep going, you could. And I do that sometimes, but for a basket, you kind of need that. ridge. So I was telling you about the dog and about my husband having to go to the vet on his birthday. And while I do these half doubles all the way around in the back loop, I will finish that conversation. I had tilted you down a little bit, and when I had to answer the phone, I messed that up. Excuse this cord. It drives me crazy. It probably doesn't bother you. But, so I'm just doing a half double all the way around in the back loop of each stitch. So, long story short with the dog is that the vet thinks that it's far more than an ear infection. She thinks there's a possibility that it could be cancer, We're just not sure. But he's never had a history of ear infections. So, because none of the medication has touched it, well, I say that, it did make it better for about a week when he was taking steroids every day. But when he started backing off those steroids, he was in pain again. So, he's pretty much at the end of his life. I don't think the end is, now. I think we could spend like $5,000 and do all these tests and take him to the vet hospital, but we decided not to do that because, he's had a good life. He's 16 years old. Not many dogs live that long. And so we discussed it last night on my husband's birthday, and we decided when the time came, first we're going to give him the steroids every day so that he hopefully won't be in pain. But our main goal is to keep him comfortable. And when we can't do that with medication anymore, then we'll know it's time to take him to the vet and have him put down. I can hardly even say it, but it just happens. Now, I want you to see I've come around and I'm at the end, and there's that chain 2. So I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the actual first half double that I did. All right, and then I'm going to chain 2. Hang on a minute. Okay, I'm right. So it looks like that. There's no spaces. If you have a space, it just means you've missed a stitch. You should have 24 stitches all the way around. I'm not counting them, but you need to probably. So I'm going to do, that was my first, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 more rounds. And this is for the little coaster basket, okay? And it depends on the size of your yarn. If you're using thinner yarn, then this won't work. But for this yarn, I'm doing a total of 4 rounds before I break for these handles. And I noticed in my last video that little piece of thread was on this, and I've got to get that off. It's driving me crazy. Okay. All right. So there you go. Now, I'm not going to bore you and do this while we talk. Well, I might. Hang on. So, just do 4 rounds all the way of 24 stitches of, it's not 24 stitches. I'm lying. Forget I said that. It's not 24 stitches. I'm sorry, guys. We better count the stitches. So when I get to the end here, I'll count. You don't really have to count the stitches because we already did, if it's looking right, don't worry about counting the stitches. 24 was the second round, and I misspoke that, and I'm sorry. After working all day, guys, I'm telling you, working in a doctor's office is the hardest thing I've ever done. I wanted to be busy, and I realized that part of the reason I didn't like the job I had before, even though it had great benefits, everything, was because I didn't have anything to do. And there's nothing worse to me than sitting all day with nothing. But I'm telling you, I have went from one extreme to the other. I can hardly keep up with everything going on, and you've got patients' health that you're dealing with, you know, and me making the referrals and doing the things that need to be done, the people at the front desk, we're important in that process of making sure the patients are healthy. So it's stressful, and today has been hard, but that's why I'm filming this video, because I just wanted to sit here and crochet and talk to you guys. And one of the viewers had suggested that I make one of these baskets as we chat, and I liked that idea because I don't like doing tutorials because nobody watches them. I mean, I just feel like my viewer count is way down when I sit and make a tutorial, and I know I'm not great at it. It's hard to do something and explain it at the same time. And I really admire these crafters and crocheters that do these, you know, like Bag O'Day. She has like countless tutorials on her channel. And I'm sure somewhere she has one for a basket. But at the same time, I want you to know how I make these. And so I thought with this little basket, it would be an easy way to show you, and I could, you know, still be here on the red couch, which people seem to like these videos. So I finished my second round, and it's starting to look like a basket, right? As long as it's starting to look like a basket, you don't have to worry about how many stitches. So I'm going to chain 2 and do 2 more rounds. And I thought I would just maybe chat with you while I do it. I will tell you, and by the way, I'm doing all half doubles, okay? Every stitch is a half double. I like that. Some people do single crochets for their baskets, but I like for it to be quick, and I think half doubles look really good. So that's what I'm doing, just half doubles all the way around. If you don't know how to do a half double, there's tons of videos to teach you that, okay? And I think the UK terminology is half treble, but anyway, that's what I'm doing. And what I want to do is chat with you while I'm doing the next 2 rows, and then I will show you how I break for the handles. And the good thing about this is this works no matter what size your basket is. And here's the other thing. I can get real artsy with these baskets because you can use any stitch as long as you're just doing 1 stitch into each stitch in the round below. You know, you could do baubles, you could do clusters, as long as you had the same stitch count all the way around. So, like if you did a bauble, you'd want to skip a stitch in between and only put half the number of bauble stitches, or clusters, or whatever you call them. But you could use any stitch pattern, basically, and fudge this and make it work. So that's what I like about them. Most of the baskets and the bags I do are just the half double. So I am almost through this round. I wanted to tell you something that happened yesterday. It was really cool. But first I want to show you this. And I don't know if you can see it with this, but you see how you have that stitch? That is where you did your chain 2. So you don't go into that very last, you've gone in, well, okay, hang on. I go into this one and work my last half double, and then I skip over this one because my chain 2's coming out of it, you see? So if you do it wrong, well, I've already crocheted into that. So I'm ready to join now, basically. And if you do it wrong and you put too many stitches, you'll kind of know it because it'll pucker a little bit. And if you do it right, you won't have any spaces. So you'll know. And I mean, you can always count, but I hate counting stitches. So I'm on my last round of 4. I'm on the 4th and last round of half double crochets into each stitch. Okay. And if you were making a bag, you would just keep doing this. You would just keep doing half doubles in every stitch, around and around and around, until you had it the height that you wanted it. And breaking for your handles is going to be about the same, no matter what size your basket is or your bag. And probably I would do the same thing if I was making it a bag. I would just add to my circle and make it bigger, okay? I hope this makes sense, but I'm telling you, the best thing you can do is really learn from Ophelia Talks flat circle video. And once you learn to do a flat circle, you've got it. I mean, you could just make so many things. And hopefully her video will make it make sense to you and you know how you increase. So what I wanted to tell you that happened yesterday is a lady came in for an appointment, and I've got copies and originals of all my most recent artwork, which is all very similar in style. I mean, it's the same in style, and it's very colorful, and I've shown it to you on past videos, but it's hanging in my office, so the people that are leaving and checking out can see, you know, bright colored pretty things. And this lady is an artist herself, but she works in completely different mediums from me, or media. Like, she paints on acrylic on canvas and does stained glass and wood burning, and I do all my stuff, you know, watercolor on paper or mixed media on paper, stitching and crochet and knitting. So it was just really interesting to talk to her, and she called back for a whole nother reason, a medical reason, later that day. So again, you see where I'm at, what it looks like, and I know it's hard with this yarn, but you don't crochet into that last little loop because the chain 2 is counting as a stitch. You slip stitch into the first half double, okay? And hopefully your yarn doesn't split like mine just did. Okay, so what I'm going to do is leave a long loop so it doesn't unravel. And to make, okay, wait, let me finish telling you about, so the lady calls back, and she cannot get my artwork out of her mind because it is so beautiful and bright, and she wants to buy a piece of it. I could have fallen over in the floor. So she's coming next week, and she's going to look at it, and that just made my day, because, you know, my art can still be a part of my work life, even though, you know what I mean? It's like, I love that they can both be together. So you see this, I've just pushed it together, and all I do, y'all, is eyeball it and see where I want the handles to go, and try to make sure that there's an even that there's the same number of stitches in between. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want it to be 5, so I'm probably going to come over this way just a little bit. And I'm going to put 4 stitch markers into these stitches. Now, I'll show you that too. And I'm probably going to have to, I'm trying to dig out my stitch markers. Okay, so I'm going to place the stitch markers where I think it's going to go based on eyeballing it, and then, so I've closed it, and what I do is I try to get this right on the edge, you know, and I close it together so I can find the middle. So I've placed this stitch marker, and I'm going to count from the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the 6th stitch, I place a stitch marker. and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that way I know that the stitch markers are even from the corner. You see? Now I'm going to count over 5 stitches and leave 5 stitches blank, and in that 6th stitch I'm going to place a stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches left blank, and I'm going to place a stitch marker. And then from this stitch marker, I'm going to, you can't see that, can you? From the back, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and in the 6th stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to place a stitch marker. And I know that there are better tutorials, and this is not a tutorial. It's just me sharing how I do it, okay? So now you have this. And you want to make sure you've got even numbers of stitches on each side. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is perfect. And it looks good. You see that? I mean, that's how I do it on every bag I make. I just eyeball it. And I mean, you do have to count, but you eyeball it first. So I'm going back and I'm putting my hook in my loop here, and okay, so I'm here after my 4 rounds of half double, and I'm going to chain 2 and continue with my half doubles until I get to that first stitch marker, okay? And I'm going to crochet into that stitch with a stitch marker, a half double. And then my yarn keeps splitting. Hold on. Okay, so into that stitch with the stitch marker, I've crocheted a half double. And now I've got 5 blank stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And I'm going to chain. Now, if you want a longer, like a bigger handle like this, then you can chain more than 5. You can do like 8 or 7 or even 6. And if you want handles that you can, I mean, you know, you can go as long as you want it to be. If you want it to look like this, hang on, let me put this away. Then you only chain 5, okay? I kind of want it not quite this big, but maybe I'm going to do 7. So after I've made my half double in the stitch with the stitch marker, I'm going to chain 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I actually think that might be the same length as the other, and then it's kind of tricky, but I'm going to yarn over, which I've already done, and I'm going to half double. You kind of have to hold on to everything. I'm going to work a half double into the stitch with the stitch marker, the next stitch marker, okay? And you can, you know what I did? I crocheted into the same stitch marker. Oh, guys, I don't know why you put up with me. So I'm doing that over. I'm going into the stitch with the stitch marker, the first stitch marker, and a half double, and I'm chaining 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now you want to go to the next stitch marker, yarn over, and do a half double. And again, my yarn is splitting, but I'm doing the best I can. So now what I have is the start of my little handle. And then I just keep doing half doubles in each stitch until I get to the next stitch marker. And we're on the next to the last round of this, if that makes you feel any better. One more round and we'll be finished. So I've come to my next stitch marker, and if you look at what I have, and you fold it back together again, I've got the little handle on the other side that I finished, or not finished, but you know, and now I'm coming to the next stitch marker. So I'm going to make a half double in the stitch with the stitch marker, and I'm going to chain 7 and half double into the next stitch with the stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I have 2 little handles, see, on each side, one on each side. And then I've just keep going around until I get to the next stitch marker. Not the next stitch marker. Until I get to the end, to the beginning of the round. You see where I started, and you'll, I'm telling you. Okay, so I've got to the end of the round, and I've got like the loop that I just worked a half double in. Then I've got this little loop that has the 2 chains coming out of it. Just skip all that and slip stitch into the top of your first actual half double. Now we only have 1 round left and we'll be done, and you'll know how to make a bag. Chain 2 and do half doubles again. But what you want to do this time is do your half double around this chain. I'll show you. So a half double in every single stitch. I wonder if you can hear my dog snoring. He sleeps a lot lately. I'm going to turn the camera around and show him to you in a minute. So I'm back to this chain. I've worked a half double in that last stitch, and now I'm at the chains. And I'm going to yarn over, pick up those chains, and just crochet around them. And I'm going to do 7 half doubles around those stitches. Okay. 3, and it's a little tricky, but it's fine. 4, 5, 6, 7. And then once I get to the 7, I'm going to half double into the first half double at the bottom of the chain. And now I'm going to kind of spread out my stitches and straighten them up a little bit. And I've got my completed handle. Okay? And it's a little bigger than just doing 5 stitches, but it's not as floppy as this one. Okay? So I've succeeded there. Y'all, I don't know if you're going to like this video or not, but I hope it's helpful, and it's just the best I can do right now. If it doesn't make sense or whatever, you can always pop a question in the comments, and I'll be sure and get back to you. I know this, you know, remember this is not a tutorial, it's just me making a basket with you. So I'm half double crocheting in every stitch all the way back around until I get to the chain, okay? So I've done a half double in that last stitch, and here's my chain. I'm going to do 7 around the chain. 2, 3, 4, 5, we're almost finished, 6, 7. And you'll have some space, don't worry about that. We're going to spread them out. And I'm going to do a half double in that first half double stitch of the round before. And come around to the beginning there and join, okay? Half double in each stitch still. That's all we've done the whole time. Well, after we did our flat circle. So now I've got this, but the 2 chains are coming out of it, which count as a stitch. So I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first half double. And then I'm going to chain 2 to make a good solid knot. Pull through like this, cut my yarn, pull it out, and cinch it down to make a good old knot. And then my basket is complete. Take out the stitch markers and you've got it complete. And weave in your ends. You just have 2 ends with this. Now, if you're using multiple strands of yarn, then you can use a big plastic yarn needle and weave in your ends, but you still should only, you know, I mean, you might have more than, you know all about weaving in ends. Anyway, we've got a completed basket. And I really, really hope that this has been okay. And I've enjoyed talking to you, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week, rest of your week. And I hope to see you this weekend. My order from Yarnspiration should be here Friday. And I'm really anxious because the dye lots are so different. I'm anxious to see what this unicorn mane will look like. If it'll be brighter, if it'll be the same, you know. So I hope to do a video this weekend. If I don't, just bear with me. I'll get to it. But the next video should be showing you all the yarns from Yarnspirations. So thank you if you've been here this long. Bless you. And please forgive all my boo-boos, my bloopers. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.